In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. Sun Tzu. The system is about to be flipped upside down. Please keep your friends and family aware. Like, subscribe, share these videos. Before watching this video, please understand that I'm not offering financial advice. I am researching crypto and I'm sharing my opinion with you on the clips that I have found. My background is in fine arts. I am not an economist, blockchain expert, or lawyer.
One realizes at the political level that the separation between geopolitics and economics is gone. That was an illusion of many people that you could, I mentioned that in my points. So that means that if you think about the currency, for example, and you know what I mean with the weaponization of the dollar, because the dollar, because it's always a triangle when you deal with currencies, you have to go via the dollar. Even if you want to buy, a Korean won, from euro, you go via the dollar. So there's a triangle always in the international monetary system. And so that means that they can capture in the US most of the transactions actually and trace the transactions and submit that, to their political preferences and essential. That's one example, but there are many examples, in foreign direct investment, the role of China, etc. So, we don't have the time to talk about this, but I think one of the main change that you have, that's not so much my topic, except for the currency I mentioned before. That's why the central bank has come with the central bank digital currency. That's maybe one way to get around, this weaponization of the dollar, which goes very often via correspondent banking. It's a bit technical, but there is something very political behind that.
Central bank digital currencies will enable governments to integrate into their currencies. Fiscal policy, monetary policy control is within the code of a CBDC. Currency wars, trade wars, nations are in economic wars, and there is little trust. The Internet of Value eliminates the need for a reserve currency. Digital currencies are a focal point of all world leaders. Why? Because today there is a way for nations to have complete control over their currencies and at the same time have a trustless environment between nations.
I also recently established the Financial Stability Oversight Council's Working Group on Digital Assets. This FSOC group enables U.S. financial regulators, such as FinCEN, the Fed, OCC, CFTC, CFPB, SEC, and other key stakeholders to work together to combat risks posed by cryptocurrencies.
The United States is working closely with the G20 for digital asset regulations. The various divisions of the U.S. government is writing laws and working closely for not only domestic regulation but international regulation. The week of December 20th, 3 major legal events took place. Steve Mnuchin is spearheading a FinCEN rule that will require exchanges to collect personal information and potentially stifle innovation in the DeFi space. The Presidential Advisory Group weighs in on regulatory approach to stablecoins, having strict standards for retail payments to use stablecoins. The SEC announces a Ripple lawsuit claiming XRP is an investment contract. The regulators have been inactive for years. Now they all strike at once.
The issue of the moment is, of course, what is XRP? Runs on the Ripple network. There are a lot of people in this audience who would like to know, but I think it's I know from longstanding practice, the SEC does not talk about matters that are in front of them at the moment. So I'm not going to ask you that because I know you won't give me an answer. And it's not just you; it's all your predecessors wouldn't give me the answer either. I get it. Don't worry.
I'm no better than they are.
But what's the process by which this is determined and the timing? When does the marketplace know the outcome of this really important question? Because as you know, Ripple right now is the second largest market cap token after Bitcoin.
I think I'll go back to what I said, is that we are open to people coming in to see us, engage with us, discuss their particular situation, and work through it with us. And some of the, I will tell you, some of these questions, require a lot of information. in order to get to a definitive position.
Glenn Hutchins that is asking Jay Clayton about XRP is an early Ripple investor. Hutchins sat on the board of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, where he was re-elected as a Class B director for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2018. During the time of this interview, Glenn was on the board of the New York Fed and asking Jay about XRP. There was pressure in Jay Clayton's direction. There were important people in the tech world, economic world, etc. that wanted these answers. Why did Jay Clayton take so long to file the lawsuit and then leave as SEC chairman right after it was filed?
It's very hard to decide how the laws apply. And that's why I think you'll see many organizations, Ripple and many others, Coin Center is another, lobbying regulators not so much to change the law, but to clarify it, like to tell us what it is that we need to do so that someone doesn't come down 2 years later and say, hey, what you were doing completely in the open and completely transparently for the last 4 years was illegal from day one and you should have known that. And we're like, we meet with you like every week about what we're doing. And now you're telling us we should have realized 4 years ago that it was fundamentally and completely illegal? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
This technology has great potential. Central banks and political leaders have painted nations into corners. They have very little options, and innovating out of the problems is a solution. Crypto hasn't been banned, and the G7, G20 have been focused on these issues. Ripple meets with regulators regularly and is transparent.
But is that something that you're worried about that could replace the dollar as a currency?
First let me say, we are very focused on cyber currencies, crypto, what do you call them, cryptocurrencies, cyber currencies. We're very focused on this. And actually at the last FSOC meeting that I chaired, we set up a working group. We're working with all the regulators. So really the biggest issue, I have two issues with them that we're focused on. One is we want to make sure that bad people cannot use these currencies to do bad things. So in the United States, and people may not realize this, under our laws, if you have a wallet to own Bitcoins, that company has the same obligation as a bank to know your customer. So in the United States, we have rules that for money laundering, for all different types of things, we can track those activities. The rest of the world doesn't have that. So one of the things we will be working very closely with the G20 on is making sure that this doesn't become the Swiss numbered bank accounts. And then we can do that. The other concern I have is there's a lot of speculation in this. And I want to make sure that consumers who are trading this understand the risks because, I am concerned that consumers could get hurt.
Or do you worry that, like Russia, it was announced, I don't know if it was a legitimate government report, maybe fake news, I don't know, but that Russia is thinking of it, coming up with its own cryptocurrency as a way to get around sanctions. Is that something you're worried about?
Not at all. The US and the G20 are all working and very focused on regulating the industry. The system needs to change, and they are well aware of the role digital currencies will play. We were in the wild west of crypto. Now we are about to go mainstream. Expect governments to stifle innovation, but innovation will find its way. Ripple has worked with regulators from the very beginning and continues to work within the system to hand over the digital asset solution to the governments and central banks. iTrustCapital offers IRAs in crypto assets and precious metals. In a world of infinite inflation and unprecedented monetary and fiscal policy, hyperinflation is a real threat. If hyperinflation were to occur, you could pay an outrageous amount of taxes on your real assets. The U.S. government allows U.S. citizens to participate in IRAs. I encourage everyone to view what iTrust has to offer and think about how IRAs could help you and your family in the long run. Leverage the tools that are given. Check out the link in the description below.
Incredibly powerful technology for the financial sector. It's technology that greatly reduces the costs of verification. It's technology that greatly reduces the costs of information transmission. And it's technology that can drive some of the inefficiencies out of our system. So that's where we are today. Comply with the securities laws, but, push the technology forward. And the area that is of particular interest to me and many of those regulators that Gary mentioned is the payment system. We all recognize that our payment system is inefficient. Domestically, it's inefficient. Internationally, it's extremely inefficient. So if we don't work and use technology to address those inefficiencies, the market is going to do it for us. And I think we'll like the outcome much better if we as regulators proactively enter that payment space, ensuring that all the time proven safeguards around AML, bank secrecy, anti-terrorism, and the like are there. So I see significant promise going forward, Glenn.
Jay Clayton sees significant promise and knows the fundamental importance of crypto. He emphasized cross-border payments. That is the use case of XRP. The market has the ability to correct. The U.S. regulators need to be ahead of the market. Crypto was appreciating in value. This caused the U.S. government to act. He filed a lawsuit against Ripple after XRP appreciated in value. Ripple has built liquidity around illiquid corridors, is a U.S. tax-paying company, has an escrow to gift, is able to aid the United States and offer advice in the tech Cold War. The regulators are clarifying what XRP is.
Do the new regulations favor traditional banks, maybe in the same way?
No, this is intended to be a level playing field, whether you're MoneyGram or you're a bank or you're an online or you're PayPal. This is intended to be a level playing field. And again, what we do encourage, and there's been a lot of financial innovation away from traditional banks.
The guidelines are being set. They're pouring the foundation of the level playing field. They're allowing innovation to continue, but within their rules. Wallets are being identified. They're putting a know your customer cap on transactions over $3,000. Stablecoins are going to have strict guidelines, and XRP is going to be clearly defined, I suspect, in a Supreme Court ruling. The business model Ripple has had and the method surrounding XRP is a common business model found in crypto. A favorable outcome for Ripple is favorable for crypto, and the opposite is true. What happens with this court case will determine the legality of many projects.
We're pretty comfortable that XRP is not a security, but ultimately it's going to be the SEC and perhaps the courts that make that decision. I would say the biggest drag on cryptocurrency projects today is regulatory uncertainty, by which I mean not laws that are bad. Laws that are bad are a problem too, like laws that, okay, I get it, but that really should be changed because it doesn't make sense. It's not that. It's laws that we don't know what the laws are because they use terms that it's, like for example, in the money transmitter law, it talks about someone who accepts a payment. Well, what does it mean to accept a payment, on a blockchain system? What does it mean? Like, it's not really clear. Like, for example, if you have payment channels, I don't know if many of you know what payment channels are, but they sort of have balances. Like, if you just adjust the balance on a payment channel, is that accepting a payment? Is the payment done?
Blockchain and crypto is a brand new technology with immense promise. The future is central bank digital currencies. The world is going to progress and the regulators know this. What we are witnessing is regulators shaping the industry for utility. Regulatory clarity is here and XRP is at the receiving end because it's the first to be used.
Point for regulators of different types to recognize that digitization and the digitization of the plumbing and other aspects of our financial system, including payment transfers, etc., it is coming. What I'll say, just the natural economic forces that it unleashes, taking fat out of the system, for lack of a better term, it's happening. Now we have to recognize that that's happening, recognize our mission, safety and soundness, investor protection, fair markets, and ensure that as that digitization takes place, we're being true to those principles. But we should not be fighting that digitization because, if we fight it, it will go around us.
The genie is out of the bottle. Crypto is here to stay. The smartest, most powerful people stand behind Ripple. We have watched the foundations of the fiat system crack, and we came to the conclusion that XRP is involved in the next-gen financial system. If XRP is involved in the next-gen financial system, how did you expect this to unfold? I expected the grounds to shake as the system transformed.
Well, I don't know that it's a new phase, but what was clear from these actions is that these offerings were conducted in a way that was not compliant with the registration requirements. They were securities offerings. I don't think there's any doubt that these were securities being sold. They were being sold in a way that was not consistent with the private placement exemptions. They were public offerings, and they were not registered with us. And when that happens, investors we have the right to bring actions, which we did, and investors have remedies. One of those remedies is the obligation of the offeror to buy back the securities at the price they were sold, and
otherwise known as rescission.
And these settlements embodied that concept.
Strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. Sun Tzu. Thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. If you enjoy my work, please consider joining my Patreon. Remember to hit the bell.